Welcome back to the Nancy Levin Show. I am thrilled you're here, and I'm really grateful today to be joined by 7 certified Levin Life Coaches. And you are going to hear from them about their own individual journeys through LLCA and what LLCA has made possible for them once they've been certified and taken their work out into the world. I always say we find ourselves in each other's stories. And so my hope for you is that in listening to the stories of these 7 women, you will find yourself as well, and you will find the spark that has you say yes to you. And I hope that you'll join us inside of this year's cohort of Levin Life Coach Academy. So first up, I am bringing on Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, Nancy. It's so good to be with you.
I am thrilled that you're here with us. And I really just want to give you a few moments here to share about your own personal experience. What life was like before LLCA, what LLCA has made possible for you professionally and personally.
Thank you. It is actually one of my favorite topics is talking about my life as a coach. So it's so easy to do this. I had a 35-year career in university alumni and development. So I worked with trustees and donors. I was at Stanford for half of that time, and I took early retirement at 57. And it was a choice that my husband and I made of what we wanted to do next. And I knew at 57, I couldn't stop working. Who does that? So I became a coach through another program because I had had a coach at Stanford, and that person was very useful in my career. The work I was doing as a coach was really results oriented. What do you need to get done? What are the steps you're going to take to get it done? Not a lot of depth about what's keeping you from doing it or why is that your biggest goal or anything. It was very results focused. And I did that for a year and I had some good clients. And then I found you. And the way I found Nancy, it was just meant to be. I was in David Kessler's Certified Grief Educator program, which was a really important program to me. And one of his last sessions, he brought Nancy in to talk about self-worth so we could ask for payment for our services because some people were feeling shy about that. Now, having asked a lot of people for money for a long time, that wasn't my concern. But watching Nancy talk about the work and just walking us through what self-worth is, I thought, oh my gosh, this woman's amazing. And then she said, oh, and by the way, in 2 days, I'm going to do an open session for my next LLCA class if anyone's interested. And I was like, pick me. It had to make sure I got in it. And I did. I went to that program and I listened to you talk about it. And I realized what I had been missing. I had been missing the ability to understand how to go deeper with people, how to understand what was their limiting belief that was causing them to say that they had to stay in this career. Instead, I'd be talking to them about, well, how are you going to make this career better? What are your steps? Instead of saying, tell me more about why that's important to you, and really getting into the limiting beliefs and then helping them rebuild or understanding boundaries or worthiness and how it connects to your net worth. All of these things that I learned through you changed the game with the work I was doing with my clients. It was so powerful for me.
I so appreciate you sharing all of this. And what would you say was a big shift that you experienced personally as well?
Top 10 list. The great part about LLCA is you don't just get trained of here's what you should do or say to other people. You experience the coaching. So I experienced reinvention. I experienced worthiness, but boundaries is the one, oh goodness, that changed so much for me. I stop apologizing for who I am and accept that my choices are good enough. They're mine. And that part is really powerful. And it's affected many parts of my life.
And, what I find particularly interesting about what you're sharing is that you had other certifications. You were already up and running in a coach capacity.
Yes.
And yet LLCA moved the needle for you in a particular way.
Yes. For those who know the movie Spinal Tap, it took me to 11.
I love that reference.
I love it.
I love it.
So I've had clients who started out in the results coaching and who have now gone through boundaries twice, reinvention, freestyle, and like everything I'm offering to them, they've done over the course of the 6 or 7 years I've been doing this. So I meet with them every once in a while. The aha that they have in most sessions, not every session, of course, but most sessions where something strikes them really profoundly. That wasn't happening in the first part of my work. They were making progress, they were doing tasks, they were acknowledging if they didn't. Yeah, why do you think you didn't? I don't know. So it wasn't as robust as having a conversation with somebody about, I have to stay in this job. What makes you say that? I can't lose it. What makes you concerned? My dad lost his job. What happened then? We struggled with money. Will that happen to you? No, I have more than enough. Then what? Oh, maybe I can look at other things. Just that thread of a conversation in an hour changes the confidence someone walks into work with the next day. And the freedom to say, I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to do this. I may choose to,
Mhm.
but then it's my choice.
And for anyone listening right now who is, as I like to say, coach curious, or is even an established coach, or is on the fence about whether or not LLCA is for them, what might you say?
Go with it. Go with your curiosity. If you're listening to any of this, there's something inside of you that says you really want it. I mean, I knew it in a heartbeat. And even if you're not sure, go through it. Even if you never coach, what you will gain for yourself by having learned these modalities is more than enough. But then I think you got to share what you learn. So that's the exciting part. But be willing to lean in, and the community that you get. Oh, these other women that you see up here, I smile when I see every one of them. I have great histories and stories with them. And so the power is the community. I've been doing this work with Nancy for a couple of years now, and I'm about to consider signing up for the next thing. And so it is a community that helps you, especially as a solo entrepreneur. It's hard. And you can come back into classes and say, gosh, I'm struggling with X or Y. And you're going to have people who are going to help you,
Mm.
but do it for yourself first.
Kathleen, thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
I am now going to bring on Sandy. Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, I really feel excited for you to share about your experience in LLCA. First of all, because I know that a big theme for you has been pioneering this work at this age and stage of your life, and what a difference it's made in you personally and professionally. And I love when you shout this from the rooftops. So I had to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to share. Before I met you, my life felt like an overwhelming, endless to-do list. And now it feels like a dance of peace, love, joy, and prosperity. To put it in a nutshell, to be more specific, I had a successful career at the University of Utah. I was the administrative director of a large NIH-funded research facility. It was very stressful, and when I retired, my perfectionism and living a life of stress and a lot of unresolved trauma caught up with me, and I basically had a breakdown. I lost it. I had panic attacks and basically couldn't function. So I ended up with a trauma therapist. She had me read Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score, which you teach first and foremost in Levin Life Coach Academy. The body is the barometer of our truth. So that book led me to yoga. And yoga led me to a yoga retreat called Song of the Soul. And it was about finding my dharma, my purpose in life, because I was so lost and depleted and had no idea who I was. And not only finding my dharma, but what was holding me back. And from that, I knew that I wanted to be a life coach. It just came to me. It was in my heart. I wanted to be a life coach, but it couldn't be any life coach. It had to be a life coach that was endorsed by Louise Hay, because Louise Hay had been my greatest healer and teacher. She helped me so much when I was in a very dark place in my life. And so I went in search of a coaching program. I checked out different places. I even took the first course in one of them, but they weren't right. And then one day I got an email from Hay House about this person called Nancy Levin and her Levin Life Coach Academy. And so that piqued my curiosity. I Googled Nancy Levin, and what showed up was a picture of you, Queen Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer, my two greatest teachers. And so I knew right then, I mean, there was no hesitation at all. I contacted you, like, where do I sign up? I just knew. And so that's where it all began. Where I am now, I'm 77 years old. That means I'll be 80 years old in 3 years. And I have my own successful coaching business, Sandy Coaching LLC. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. I got hired by the University of Utah as an associate instructor to lead an 8-week discussion of Nancy Levin's The Art of Change. And I do that each semester, and that's where I get my clients. That's where I got my first client, and that's where I get referrals. And I just want to say this is an investment, and some people might be concerned about the money, but I want people to know this. Because I set my LLC up right away, I was able to deduct my tuition. And I got a huge refund for it. And I want people to know that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say, if I can do it, anybody can. And I had just have so much gratitude for this life I've been given. And I'm so grateful. I did have a successful career, a well-paying career at the University of Utah. It wasn't my life's work. This is my life's work. I get to teach my life's work now, and I get to be paid to do it because I'm worthy. Because you taught me that too. And I love you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I love you too, Sandy. And I really, that's why I said I wanted you here, because I love how you do shout it from the rooftops, and you do radiate and emanate the embodiment of this work, and seeing who you have become. And I love how you're now using the work in the university setting as well as in private coaching setting. And I'm excited to watch what you continue to do and how you expand.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Liz, I'm bringing you on. Hi, Liz.
Hello, how are you?
I am wonderful, and it's great to be here with you. And I will just also presence that Liz is not only a certified Levin Life Coach, Liz also is a mentor in our training program. And so I'm really glad that you're able to be here with us today, Liz, to share your experience before you came into LLCA and how LLCA has continued to shift and transform you and what's become possible.
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. That's the one thing that really stands out for me is the opportunity that you have presented in my life. You've given me the opportunity to learn and to grow through LLCA and the certification process, but you've also given me the opportunity to discover who I am after so much trauma. Before coming to LLCA, I had gone through the death of my husband, and several years before was the death of our oldest child. And so grief was a really big, or is a really big part of my story. And I was in David Kessler's program as well, and going through that process. And when you came to speak to our cohort, you talked about boundaries. Being someone from a religious culture, as well as a Polynesian culture, boundaries don't exist. It's all about service and what we can do for others, and really putting others first. And so to hear in the moments where I was truly kind of lost, that I could set boundaries and I could put myself first, was this concept that I had never really thought was possible. And after hearing that, I was like, okay, I need to find this woman and do whatever she tells me to do. Because just that brief experience listening to you changed me and opened something up for me. After the loss of my husband, I was in a brief marriage, and that was actually going on when I started LLCA.
Yeah.
And in that process, like, I knew a change needed to be made, and I put myself first. Within the first module that we experience in reinvention certification, I put myself first. And I let go of a relationship that was not serving me. And when I came out of LLCA with that certification, that relationship was gone. And my focus was on me and my sons and what I could do for my family. And I learned a lot about what I could do for myself through the certification process, that I had worth, that I could set boundaries, that I could make choices that served my vision, that I had a vision, that it was like, I'm the one who creates this for myself. There were all these possibilities that came to life in that short window of time, that 9, 10 months of the certification process. And I came out of it just knowing more about myself and having the confidence to put myself first. Not to put myself above everyone else necessarily, but to consider my own feelings instead of serving everyone else and leaving nothing for me. So that was the biggest thing that I realized in that first year. And what I love about your program is that you lead
Mm,
by example.
mm,
You are in every session that you could possibly be, or your team is involved in every session, that you're guiding us through the process. You're coaching us and then teaching us how to be coaches.
mhm.
And that's like a 10-month window. And then we have some more after that, and then more and more and more. I mean, if you're thinking about becoming a life coach, Nancy's the one to do it with because Nancy takes you through the process all the way. And I don't know any other program that does that, that is as invested as you are, because you show up for us, which helps us to see that we can show up for ourselves. And you know all of us, and you know the journeys that we go on, um, and you're able to help us along the way. And I love that about your program, that you really are the center of that program, which allows us to be the center of our businesses. We build these businesses after we leave the certification process, and we've seen you do it. And so we go, okay, and I can do this. I can put myself at the center of this. I can be visible. I can be the face of my business, and I can take people through this process because I know what it's done for me. And then the depth of understanding that comes from LLCA, I've coached people who have done inner work for years. And we get into shadow beliefs and disowned qualities and underlying commitments. And I'm like, okay, I'm grateful that you've been doing this for a long time, as far as like the work that my clients have been doing on their own. But I'm seeing that your program allows us that depth of understanding for ourselves so that we can live it and embody it. But then we can also take our clients through it in a way that they've never realized it and never experienced it, even if they've done a lot of work on their own or through other programs. And so the learning that takes place in your program is so much heavier and meatier than what other people are experiencing. And I love that because I get to do that for my clients now. I get to take them through this process with these layers that you have provided in your program. And that's one of the most amazing parts, is that I get to show people who've been doing this for a long time something completely new, something that they haven't experienced.
So, from what you were sharing, I'll just also share that LLCA itself is a training and certification program. Included in the tuition is a whole component about building your business, whether from scratch or continuing building it from wherever you are. And then, as you alluded to, there are additional advanced trainings that continue after that initial certification with additional certifications available. So it is a family, it is an ongoing relationship that we all end up having together. And one of the reasons I'm really happy that you're here as well is to speak to what it's been like for you to be a mentor in the program, because the mentors play a critical, essential role. Because yes, I'm showing up in real time weekly, and the mentors are holding the small groups along the way. So I always look at the mentor groups as your traveling companions through the program. We have the big cohort, and then we also have these small cohorts with the mentors. And so I'd love for you to just spend a couple moments addressing your experience of mentoring.
When Nancy emailed me and was like, "Hey, I need to talk," I'm like, "Oh no, what did I do?" And then to find out that I was being considered to be able to go through this process with others was an amazing opportunity for me. To be able to share my experiences with a group of new coaches that were going through the process, it was very humbling. There are a lot of amazing people out there, and when we're in those small groups, we get to learn from each other. Yes, as the mentor, I'm there to guide and to lead and to help them along the way, but there's so much learning that took place for me as well. And in those small groups, it's amazing because you do build up those relationships. It's been talked about that this is a community and it continues on. It starts in your cohort and then you get real close in those small groups where you can love, support, and hold each other accountable. And that's what we're there for, is to increase the learning in a very intimate way because there's 6 to 8 of us. And so I get to help people in that process and serve them in a way that they have this intimate connection with someone who's in the coaching world, who's got their own business, who's taking on clients, and who's participating in the world as a coach. And so it's fun to be able to be there to support people as they are going through that. We're all able to learn from each other, but being able to be the mentor who guides them through that process is fulfilling for me. And hopefully, along the way, I'm able to impart some of the wisdom that I have as I have my own coaching business that's up and running at the same time as I'm doing the mentoring. So it's really nice in that sense because you have the larger cohort, but then you have these intimate small groups where you really get to ask those questions, where you get to have those conversations, not only in your small group, but one-on-one with your mentor. In this process, we have lots of one-on-ones, we have evaluations, and so we're able to give specific feedback in real time as we're going through the certification process with new coaches. And so I love that I get to be part of that because as people are coming through your program, I get to see their growth, not only in what they're learning, but in their confidence, in their self-worth, and how they can stay at the end when they're certified. I am a coach.
Mhm.
To hear people who were like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. And I was one of those people too. But then to get to the end and to hear them say, like, I am a coach. And I'm like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. So it's really exciting as a mentor to be a part of people's journey.
Liz, thanks so
Thank
much for
you.
sharing. All right, Mindy, I am going to bring you on. Hi,
Hi,
Mindy.
Nancy.
Happy
Wow.
that you're here.
It's really a pleasure and a privilege. I'm very grateful that I'm at this place in my life where I can be here.
Yes. So please share a bit about where you were before LLCA, what made you come into LLCA, what LLCA has made possible for you professionally, personally.
Well, it's wonderful because listening to these other amazing people, 2 of whom I already know came from David Kessler's program, which is where I met you as well. But as people were speaking and sharing from such a deep, real place, I got sort of an image of my life as like all these different little stars. Like I'm a minister, I'm a master painter, I'm a certified grief educator, and I had a retail business for 30 years and I see all these things, but it really wasn't until this program with you that all those things got connected and turned into a constellation. And now my life feels like this whole cohesive meaning to all the different things that I've done in my life where I never felt so connected to me and my ability to serve others because I was always good at listening to other people and connecting with people, but it's through your program that I learned to connect with myself. And from that connection, I've been able to serve. I have a growing list of clients because my real love is with loss, grief, and loss support. But I bring everything I've learned from you into all the other areas of my life. So my work with clients who are struggling with loss has now been infused with the wisdom that I've gained from this program of learning to listen actively in a way that I never had being in touch with my self-love, which was like intellectually, I always knew I should love myself, but I never did. Now I do. And I can bring that presence to my life, to my work, to how I serve others, to my family. As we talk about authenticity, I give with authenticity now, not from obligation. And it's really a massive difference. So, aside from that, I'm not sure what else to say, but that it has changed my life, that's for sure. And I see the ripple effect into the world, which is what I always wanted. I always wanted to be someone who could create the ripples that I envisioned were possible. And now I can see them. I can really see it. As Sandy said earlier, it's an abundance of gratitude. I'm just beyond words grateful for what you have opened up in me. And I feel really amazing. So I'm honored to be here. Really, I am.
Mindy, thank you so much for sharing. It's been really wonderful witnessing you, even as you've been continuing on in the advanced programs, and even as recently as this week, you sharing about the major shifts and changes that you are making in your own life, that you continue to make, and how the ripple effect is continuing to ripple.
Absolutely. And one thing I'll just add, though, in terms of what some people have said about the business aspect, I really never realized when I signed up for this that I was not going to be left high and dry. Like, I remember just thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? And I feel like my hands have been held like a little kid, every step of the way with you. It's just been a phenomenal piece that I didn't expect. So it gave me the confidence to actually, even though I had a business for 30 years that was very successful, again, it didn't feel connected to me like this does. So that's beautiful too.
Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you,
Thanks so
Nancy.
much. Diane, I'm going to bring you on. Hi, Diane.
Hello, Nancy.
I'm so thrilled that you're here today with us, and I would love to have you share a bit about where you were before LLCA, what had you enroll, what's possible post your certification, significant personal and professional impact of LLCA.
Yes, I am so grateful to be here, Nancy. Honored to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so before I came into LLCA, I was in education for 30 years. And I was doing some things where I was becoming more visible, and that had me feeling like I was coming out of my skin. I was very uncomfortable. And I started working with a coach. And I started getting connected with other like-minded women who were in the, self-development, self-growth space. And I started hearing talk about boundaries. And what I came to at one point was, I don't think I know what boundaries really are. And I think there's so much power in knowing what you don't know. And so I started, first of all, I started asking other people, what are your boundaries? And 100% of the time I got some version of, there was confusion. Like, well, I don't know. What do you mean boundaries? And I'm not sure. And I thought, that is so fascinating. Why don't we know about boundaries, or really what they are? So I started searching, and I found your book, Nancy. Got the book, Boundaries Will Set You Free. And I thought, I need more of her. So I started following you. And at that same time, of course, this is, like divine timing, right? At the same time, I was starting to have people ask me to coach them. So I also knew that I wanted to learn how to be an effective coach. Because what I noticed was, I was a teacher, and I noticed I was teaching people, but I wasn't really coaching them. And I wanted to be more impactful. And so lo and behold, not only did I get to learn about boundaries, but you had a whole model on how to be a coach. So I feel like I hit the jackpot. It was gold. And the result of it was a million times more than I could have ever imagined. And it makes me emotional because I don't even know if I have the language to express how impactful this has been in my life. And really, it has returned me to my true self. And it's allowed me to reclaim my voice, which is ginormous
Mm.
in my life. And to have the liberation of actually saying what I mean, not deferring to what other people want or what I think they want to hear or making other people comfortable. Because what I've learned is I was very committed to not upsetting anyone ever. That was a very trained, ingrained, commitment that I had. So uncovering that, I now can own my own upset and I can own my own happiness and allow other people to own their happiness, their upset. And that has been so freeing. And it has impacted every relationship in my life, personally and business wise. And so I get to now pay this forward. And what I hear as I take clients through it, it is so impactful that they are telling other people, oh, you need to do this work. So testimonials and referrals are so big because people are really feeling the impact of this work. So I am deeply, deeply grateful for this work that you have put out into the world, Nancy. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of it.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you so much. Claudia, there you are. All right, I'm bringing you on. Hi, Claudia.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So I know you came in to LLCA from a different portal. What brought you in and what have you discovered and how have you shifted and what's become possible for you personally and professionally? Because it's really been, you've moved in a lot of different directions here.
Oh my goodness, yes. Well, first of all, really, really grateful to be here. And not only because I love you dearly and I love being in the presence of everyone here, but also because it's so great to have these moments to reflect back and
Mm.
really remember.
Mhm.
Especially because I tend to be more of like a forward-looking person. So this is a great exercise for me as well. So thank you. I came through the I'm lost with my life portal. I had a very successful career as an urban designer in New York. I loved it. I'm very passionate about cities. And I think that part of my passion comes because cities are about people. And even in my practice, I always felt that it was more about connecting with people to create together and to really imagine together the types of environments that we want to live in. Which is to say that the parts that I really enjoyed were the parts that were about human connection and getting to hear and connect with people's desires and how they live their lives. And while that was really fulfilling in many aspects, I totally burned myself out because internally, and I obviously didn't know that at the time, but I was giving. I did come from that mindset of like giving and giving and service and service. And also this idea of I was a perfectionist because my value was measured by my success. That's what I learned. I'm not going to say taught, but how I learn it. And but not only that, but also by the value that other people assign to what I had to give, not
Mhm.
felt for me. So I would say that working with you, LLCA, I got an email from Hay House. Hay House had already been a companion of mine for a few years through some very difficult times. And I got that email. I had taken a sabbatical, a self-sponsored sabbatical. But I was like, I am giving everything up. This is not working. I need to open up to new things. And I don't know what that looks like because I'm exhausted. And so I took a sabbatical and went home to Dominican Republic where I'm from to be around family. And I got that email and I went to a workshop with you and it was very confrontational in the best of ways. In the sense that I love your style. I love how you held us with so much love and, acceptance that kind of created that space for us to, at least for me, to be honest with myself. And I think that in that moment, I was like, oh my God, I resonated with you and what you were teaching in that like 45-minute workshop that I was like, oh my God. And I have to say, I never follow up. I never say like, let me have that call that they're offering. But before I knew it, my fingers were like signing up for that call the next day. And thank God, because when I heard about how comprehensive the program is, the fact that you are the one leading it, we are working with you directly. And now I can also say your team is just an extension of your awesomeness. So truly, it was a no brainer. And so it was the best time also for myself because I had created space for myself to kind of slowly like do the homework that I had been postponing for my whole life. And so even though I had achieved a lot of success externally, there were parts of me that knew that there were some things that were not at peace, that didn't feel good with me in my experience, and that there were patterns of behavior that I had noticed that I didn't even know where they came from, but I knew I always wanted to hide from shining, from being a leader, which it was very confusing to me because people saw me as a leader and I couldn't see myself as a leader,
Right.
or I couldn't feel comfortable being a leader. So through reinvention, I went, first of all, the whole point of like, and this is funny because I'm a designer. I think I know what a vision is. I believe in visions. I had never applied it to myself. And that from the get-go was like an aha moment. Going through all of the aspects or like the way that you help us, support us to bit by bit. I love that it's never like you have to solve your inner turmoil in 2 seconds. It is really building up. We get to slowly connect and with ourselves, with our inner truths. And it's just like a wonderful adventure. And I have to say, because you guys, I remember you saying at one of the first classes, that it's like this journey between your mind and your heart. And I want to add that, in fact, this journey has taken me to even lower, to my gut, to my instinct.
Yes. Yes.
Because what I have learned is that my truth is my truth.
Yes. And you can trust your truth.
And it's absolutely safe to trust it.
Mm.
Yes. Not only safe, it's like the way to be. Like, there's no other way.
I mean, I love so much of what you're sharing, especially because you came in from this burnout, you came in this sabbatical, you came in because you felt lost, not necessarily coming in because I want to be a life coach. And I often say that when I did my coach certification training, it was not to be a life coach. It was just to put attention on myself and know me better. And then look at what has happened to you. You are now coaching. You are now out there. You are now visible. You are building your coaching business. And I think you surprised yourself.
Not only that, Nancy, I have to say, a friend of mine, I had never thought of myself as an entrepreneur, ever. Like, that was so not in my, bingo
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
And even a friend had insisted a few times that we do like certain things together and like business stuff. And I was like, I don't do that. Why are you talking to me?
Yeah.
And now I have a business. I have my life coaching business. I love it. I'm super stretching myself and I'm willing to do it
Yes.
because of what it means.
Yes.
I have to say, I also have to acknowledge this is not easy every day. This is very challenging in ways that is surprising. And at the same time, I would not have it any other way because I'm doing it with myself, for myself. I have the framework, I have the tools, because that's also what I love about this style of coaching. This program has just been a life changer and a lifesaver. And I cannot wait to see where it leads me. So thank you.
I so appreciate everything you shared. Thank you. Okay, I'm bringing on Sheridan. Hi, Sheridan.
Hi, Nancy.
Full disclosure, Sheridan and I have known each other for years, and it has been such a joy to have you inside of LLCA and to witness you in this capacity. So, share a bit about where you were personally, professionally before LLCA. What had you follow your curiosity to join, and what has changed for you? What's become possible personally and professionally on the other side?
So, as you know, I'm an astrologer. And
Yeah.
so I was just really frustrated with the way that people were teaching me to do astrology, how I was seeing it done in the world, and I loved working with my clients. And I felt like, oh, we'd have these like huge, amazing, what I now think of as like visioning sessions, right? Of like, here's your path, here's where life can go for you. They'd be all lit up. We'd be all super inspired, validated. Oh my gosh, I'm ready to go forth and be myself and, rise to my Scorpio rising or whatever it was. But I would feel at the end like, oh, wow, this is great. They can go off with this vision, but I have no tools to help them actually implement that new knowledge, that self affirmation, the truth about themselves, because I know after the session, we're going to run into our shadow beliefs, our underlying commitments, all our unconscious like crap running in the background that has kept us stuck in this place. So I felt like something was wrong with me. I don't know what, so many astrologers are like the guru on high, giving you predictions, and this is what it will mean and happen. And give your power over to me. And I didn't want that. I wanted to use astrology to give power back to my clients. And so it turns out I think I was trying to invent astrology life coaching without even knowing what that was. And I heard someone on an astrology podcast mention something about life coaching. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been trying to do. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know there's a term for it, but I knew you. And I was like, well, if I'm going to life coaching school, I'm 100% going to Nancy's life coaching school because I know Nancy does everything at the very top of her game. It'll be the best training, the most well thought out, the most thorough, the most supportive, everything. And I was 100% right. So,
I love that.
yeah, I knew that because I knew you. And so, like any good, my son is in Cancer. I went to life coaching school for my clients to serve them and help them. And what happened for me was so wholly unexpected and so incredibly life changing that I was just blown away by the whole experience and continue to be blown away by it. Like on a daily basis, I use the tools that I've learned to like help me overcome things. So there's so many different directions I could go with this, but like I would say what's coming to me right now personally is before LLCA, I was like stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage, and then I'd climb out of the hole, and then I'd self-sabotage, and then I'd climb out of the hole, right? Whatever new like self-help methodology, I was like all in, I'm super disciplined, I'd go, go, go. But then there'd be some trigger, right? Something in my subconscious would get twanged. I'd be hitting that ceiling. Something emotional would happen, any number of things. And then I would go back down the Ferris wheel and back into the self-sabotage. I had moved on from drugs a long time ago, but still a lot like through food and like streaming, watching TV, just getting really depressed and like shutting down. And through going through this whole process, I don't do that very much anymore. And if I do, I'm like, oh, look at what I'm doing. I now have the tools to like pull myself out of it, and even to get like more concrete, like this weekend, as my mom suffers from mental illness and it's been an intense journey for me. And she stopped talking to me like over a decade ago, but she's coming here this weekend and I'm actually going to see her. My sister like organized it. And that would have been one of those things that would have really set me off, right? I mean, I would be like down in the hole, eating junk food, streaming whatever on Netflix, but just like not functioning very well. And I'm not having that kind of experience at all. I'm really clear on feeling the feelings like, oh, I feel anxious. I feel afraid. I feel strong. I feel afraid of being hurt, and it's empowering to be able to actually lean into the shadow instead of trying to like stuff it away. So then it comes out sideways in all of these self sabotaging behaviors. So it's been huge in how I live my life. So much more confidence. I feel so much more connected. I feel so much more whole. I feel safe being me. And I never felt safe being me ever before. That's why I spent so much time alone because it was like, okay, I'm okay when I'm by myself. And that's a huge, huge change for me.
I mean, that right there, I think is everything. And I love what you shared. Of course, you enrolled and you came in for your clients. And then the real bonus was what you got for you. And everything you got for you compounds to create that confidence that you have now to serve your clients in an even greater way.
Yeah. It's so great to be able to like take them through the process of like, here's where you were getting in your own way. And now you have these tools to not do that. It's like, this is all I want to do this whole entire time. And it comes from them, which is the most beautiful place of all, right?
Yes.
I don't have to teach them how to do it. I don't have to connect the dots. I just have to guide them to themselves where all of their true answers live. And that is so empowering as a coach and as a client.
Sheridan, thank you so much. I feel giddy from everything that has been shared today. Thank you so much. So, thanks to all the LLCA coaches who shared so transparently and fully today. And thank you to everyone listening. And I would honestly love nothing more than to welcome you into this next cohort of LLCA. It would be my honor and my pleasure to have the opportunity to support and guide you. So until next week, signing off.